Good morning, everybody. It's Megan here, the Healing Foods Coach, also known as the Faithful Fibromyalgia Warrior. And it is Wednesday, the 8th of July. I hope you're all doing well. So it has been 30 days now of OMAD, one meal a day. And just wanted to make this quick video to share with you how it's been going. So the first thing I want to say is that I've really been enjoying it. And from somebody who comes from a background of restrictive eating, of eating disorder, bulimia specifically, where I really couldn't have done this in my first beginning stages of my journey on carnivore, it feels great to be able to do this now. So that's me. For some people, it will always be far too triggering, sort of working out calories and when to eat and all of those things. So please hear me when I say this. If you have ever struggled with disordered eating, with an eating disorder, with any sort of food issues, and you feel like it might trigger you, please don't feel like you have to do this. I reached a point in my life where those things were no longer triggers for me. Now, it took me 6 years to reach this place. This did not happen initially. And that doesn't mean none of those feelings are there. There are moments where I have to remind myself, hey, I have lost over 100 pounds. I have kept it off. I have had much healing. I have found improvement in my mobility, in a reduction in my fibromyalgia pain, in my brain fog. I've been able to get back to work. All those things are true. I don't use a wheelchair every day anymore. I, am able to work full time. I'm able to walk longer distances than I used to, which is amazing. And absolutely, God has been orchestrating all of that, led me to this way of eating. And then from there, I've, over the years, reached the point where I realized I wanted to heal some more. And that's just something I decided to try. Okay. But there are still times where I look at myself and I feel like, oh, I feel fat. And I think women, we all feel that way from time to time. Maybe not, but those things are still there from on occasion. I don't know if they'll ever go away fully, but the voices are quieter. The noise is quieter. The food noise in particular is much quieter. So this has been great for me. And one of the things I've shared in other videos in the past, and I'll share again, is that I do deal with IBS. And so those voices can still creep up even 6 years on. That doesn't mean they'll never go away, and I certainly don't throw myself into the patterns and the behaviors I used to when I was full-blown into my bulimia, thankfully. Again, God is amazing, and that's been a lot of prayer and meditation through Him, and just changing my diet, getting the inflammation out, getting the food noise out. That's made a huge impact and a big difference. But that doesn't mean those thoughts can't still creep up. So if you are someone who struggled with this, you may eliminate those thoughts and those emotions fully, and I hope you do. But if you still find they pop up, it doesn't mean you failed or that there's something wrong with you. I think sometimes those can be things that we have to battle with daily to a greater or lesser extent. So if you are still feeling those negative thoughts, or you can't believe, hey, I've lost weight, but I still feel fat, or whatever it might be, does not mean you have failed. It means you are like me on a lifetime journey. This is not a quick fix. This is not it will fix absolutely everything all at once. This, again, it took me 6 years to reach a place where trying one meal a day was even a possibility, because it was far too triggering in my early days and early years on carnivore. Having said that, I know that a lot of people do extremely well by eating 3 carnivore or even 2 or 3 carnivore meals a day. I know they do. Their stories are through the internet. There are so many influencers who eat that way, and they've had incredible success in healing. And that's fantastic. And if you are one of those people, please don't feel like you need to do this. For me, however, the main reason I wanted to do, well, there's 2 for why I decided to go OMAD, a 1 meal a day. The first one is because when I went through menopause, when I started menopause 2 years ago, I put on weight. Now, I did not put on the typical 40 to 50 pounds, thank goodness. However, I did put on at least a good 15 to 20. And some of that did come off, but that final 7 to 10 pounds was just not going anywhere. It wouldn't shift. And because I was eating all the butter and I was eating, first thing eating breakfast and then trying to wait 4 or 5 hours for lunch and then 4 or 5 hours for dinner, which is not necessarily wrong. And for many people that works. And I was doing that because I'm a chronic undereater. Again, disordered eating and bulimia for 30 plus years. I was not eating enough. And the idea of trying to eat everything in one meal was daunting to me. And the thought made me feel nauseous, truly. So I had to space my food out. What I didn't realize is as I got closer and closer to my goal weight, so the more weight you have to lose, the faster it typically comes off. And the closer you get to your goal weight, the smaller you are, the less you have to lose, the harder it is to lose. And that's just true whether you are carnivore or following another type of diet. So as I got closer and closer to my goal weight, it was harder and harder to shift the weight. I work a very sedentary job. I work in a call center. I don't go to the gym because of my fibromyalgia and my SI joint dysfunction pain in my lower back. So I can't. I walk to work and back every day, about 15 minutes there and back. I try to get the dogs out for short walks regularly, but I don't always. But other than that, I'm fairly sedentary. So I'm not doing a whole lot of exercise. So I'm not burning extra fuel, like someone who goes to the gym, but I was still eating the same amount as when I was 100 pounds heavier. And undoubtedly, also going through menopause, the hormones affected my ability to shift the weight quickly, and it just sort of crept up. Now, it wasn't huge amounts, like I said, 15 pounds maybe, slowly. And some of that came off when I got through menopause, but the last 7 to 10 pounds were really hard to shift. And what I realized as well is that it was because I was constantly, and I didn't know this, but I discovered that my body was constantly in feeding mode, which meant my insulin was raised because I was eating, right? I wasn't giving my body enough time to rest and digest, which is why I would eat in the morning, even though I didn't feel that hungry, even though I was waking up feeling bloated and constipated, in spite of being carnivore. Now, the constipation, just a little bit of realness here, was nowhere near what it was on a carbohydrate heavy diet, but it was still there. And so that was something I was constantly fighting with. And some days were better than others, but overall I was fairly constantly feeling bloated and puffy and constipated. And I thought, okay, well, maybe that's just my digestion. And I know for some people that doesn't change easily, even on carnivore. But again, what I didn't realize was that I was under eating and I wasn't getting enough fat, saturated fat for my food. So those two things were working against me. When I switched to 1 meal a day to OMAD, and I gradually did this. I did not do this instantly overnight. I slowly pushed out my breakfast time, so breakfast fell into lunch instead, and sort of brought my dinner time a bit sooner. And basically what I did was I eventually got myself to eating once a day, making sure I was eating enough. I did lose those last 7 to 10 pounds and kept it off. Fantastic. But more importantly, I don't wake up feeling bloated and constipated all the time. My digestion is starting to greatly improve. My rosacea got super bad when I was going through menopause. Again, likely the hormones. That settled. My rosacea has cleared up. My skin now is probably clearer than it was since I was a teenager. Not that it was really bad, but it's gotten even better. I find that my hair overall is much healthier. My nails are finally in a good place, healthy-wise. They're not cracked and chipped and things like that. And sometimes that can just take a while. Now, it could have been just because it took me several years on carnivore to reach that stage. But I think at the 1 meal a day, I've noticed it even more lately. So it's improved even more. And so for me, I wanted to make this video just to say, hey, I'm going to stick with this because honestly, I feel so much better, so much lighter by doing this 1 meal a day. And what I'll do, because sometimes I have a rotating work shift, so it could be 9 to 4, 9 to 5, or 10 to 6. And if I'm on a later shift, then I may not get home until close to 7. And what I've realized for me is the later I eat, the harder it is for me to fall asleep at night, the longer it takes for my insulin to come back down. before I eat again. So what I do is if I'm going to be working a later shift, I make all my food in the morning, pack it into Tupperware, keep it at work in the fridge, and then if I pull it out around 4:35, and I can start nibbling between 5 and 6, that way I'm still eating. I try to aim to eat between 5 and 6, 5:30 and 6:30 at the latest, because that seems to work best for me. That's just me. You have to kind of play around to see what works best for you guys. But it's been going really well. And so it's been a while since my last video, and this is why I wanted to make this. Now, for some people, again, if you have to take certain medications, blood pressure, heart medication, you may be doing well on carnivore or even low carb or keto, and you still need to take diabetes medication, especially if you're type 1. So in those situations, you may have to eat multiple times a day, in which case, please do that. If you need to take food with your medication, eat. Okay, if you don't have to, and maybe you're finding you're in a stall, or you're still feeling kind of bloated, or you're having digestive issues, or things like that, 1 meal a day may help. Just a suggestion. It's certainly going well for me at this point. It may really help you as well. And I find, although the brain fog for me really did clear up 95% when I first started carnivore 6 years ago, it's this last little bit, that final sort of last little bit of sharpness that I'm finding is coming back even stronger since I've been OMAD, which has been great, which is really helpful for me at work. So that's just an update for where I'm at. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much if you stuck through this video and watched it to the end. I appreciate that. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. As you can see, the sun's already out outside. I hope you're enjoying a fantastic day wherever you are. If it's really hot out, I hope you have somewhere nice to stay cool. Enjoy yourselves. Have a fantastic Wednesday. I'll be back soon with more content. Love you guys. Take care. See you in the next video.